Welcome to the Uncomfortable Podcast, where we transform discomfort into a healing dialogue. In a world where we often feel pressured to present only the polished aspect of our lives, this podcast serves as a sanctuary for the real, the raw, and the messy. Here we embrace the echoes that true healing begins when we dare to vocalize our struggles. Our conversations are more than just talks. They are pathways to liberation and understanding. Each episode is an invitation to our listeners to join into a journey of vulnerability and honesty. We dove into a myriad of topics, navigating through the complexities of emotions, experiences, and often unspoken challenges that shape our lives. At the Uncomfortable Podcast, we don't just scratch the surface. We dive deep, encouraging our guests and listeners alike to release and speak their truth. It's a place where laughter and tears coexist, where stories and adversities become testimonies of resilience. Join us as we find comfort in the uncomfortable and discover that speaking out is the first step to healing. This is not just a podcast, it is a movement towards embracing our inner selves, imperfections included. Tune in as we journey together, speaking our way into healing and transformation. Welcome to the Uncomfortable Podcast. I am your host, Johanna B. Zeno, and can y'all believe it? We are yet here for another week as we are diving deep into our season 4, as we are unpacking our 21-day devotional called Snitches Get Healed. We are currently on day 11. So if you have been rocking and rolling with us, then you know our topic for tonight is called Overcoming Fear. We have an amazing guest that we are going to talk and have a conversation with on tonight, where he's going to share with us exactly what overcoming fear looked like for him in his healing journey. But if you have not already, like, share, or even subscribe to our YouTube channel, go ahead and do so. When you're seeing us post and all the information that we're giving out when we're talking about Snitches Get Healed, go ahead, subscribe to our YouTube channel so that way you are able to get all the notifications, all of the updates. But not just that, if you have not already purchased your copy of our 21-day devotional, you can go ahead and email us at info@jobzeno, to where you can receive for $4.99 our download printable PDF file, to where you can print it out at your local Office Depot. Or if you're about that life and you want to do it at your home, if you just got the ink for it, go ahead and do so. Or if not, you can purchase our hard copy, which is going to be $19.99. And yes, we have restocked. This is what it looks like here. If you're one to where you want it in hand, go ahead and do so. Get that, because that's also to your business, right? And that is $19.99, like we mentioned, and we do offer shipping. So if you're like, hey, not really sure if I can get it because I live in a whole nother state, another country, don't even matter. We can go ahead and ship it to you. So again, like I mentioned, we are on day 11, and our topic for tonight is called Overcoming Fear. If you are following with us, then you know that the story that we are talking about is David and Goliath. We all know there are so many different Goliaths and giants in our life. And whenever we come to a crossroads to where, we have to make those decisions, many of us, we can become fearful. We can become timid. We can even shy away from being able to face those things head on. But our guest on tonight, he is going to explain to us exactly what was those giants and those Goliaths in his life and how he was able to overcome that fear in his healing process. So if we can, go ahead and give an uncomfortable, warm welcome to our guest on tonight, Manny Morales.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
We are doing well. How are you?
Not too bad. I'm doing good. I'm definitely doing good. How are you doing?
I am doing amazing. I am excited for our conversation, for our listeners and our viewers to be able to hear us talk about overcoming fear, because so many people, they run away from it, they shy away from it. But we know that in order for us to get to the other side, there's some things we just have to face, even when it includes being fearful, right? So if you can, Mr. Manny, can you go ahead and introduce yourself to all of our listeners and viewers on tonight?
Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Manny Morales, author, model, podcast host. I do a little bit of everything, but literacy is definitely one of my first passions. So,
Awesome, awesome. So I know, like I mentioned to you, our topic for tonight is overcoming fear.
mhm.
And whenever you think about overcoming fear, what is some of the things it is that jumps out to you, Mr. Manny?
um, just the part of overcoming the fear of getting out of that comfort zone that people are so accustomed to being into.
Hmm.
I know I was a long time ago. And the comfort zone was just really comfortable. And I just felt like people, yeah, well, I can't say people, but I know I did. I would make excuses for why I wouldn't go
Hmm.
out and try to accomplish things that I knew that I could do. But the comfort zone, I felt like that's where I needed to be. And I would make excuses to why I wanted to be there.
Yeah.
The excuses ran out. So, yeah.
Yeah, it comes a point in time to where our excuses they can only take us so far, mainly to whenever we're praying and we're believing God for a particular thing, and we know whenever it comes time for God to tell us to move, that can be fearful,
Yep.
even within itself. And I know many people, we all have our different journeys, we all have our different processes in things, but would you be able to share with us, like, what was a particular moment in your life to where it was literally very fearful, but you have been able to overcome it and see the fruit in the manifestation of that?
Um, there's been a lot of situations, but one that was very fearful. I was in a toxic marriage when I was in
Mhm.
Virginia, and it was toxic both ways. But the negativity was what was keeping the toxicity in the marriage, and I got to a point where I couldn't do it anymore, and the only way that that we were able to break that bond that we had, I had to move.
Yeah.
So I moved to Florida. I packed everything that I had, and moved out here. I didn't know anybody. Like, I was out here by myself, and that was just fear in itself, moving. And I was born in Philadelphia, but then I lived in Virginia for almost all my life. And just to be in one place for so long, and then just up and move and go to a place where nobody knows you, that was definitely
Whew.
high on the fear scale. Yeah. But the payoff was, it helped me realize that I can do things, and
Mhm.
get out of that comfort zone and become a lot of the things that I've actually wanted to do, which was write my book and model, and other things. But just that step that I took helped me kind of get out that comfort zone.
Cool. And that's a comfort zone that can really sometimes have you like in a chokehold, because
Yes.
in my book that I wrote as one of the contributing authors of called The Reset Journey, Surviving to Thriving, I
Okay.
talk about a particular relationship that I was in, and I had to do the exact same thing,
Hmm.
to where I had to leave everything behind. And it was fearful because you work so hard, you invest so much
Yes.
time, so much energy, and so much love into a particular person, just to find out that this is no longer healthy for me. You know what
Right.
I mean? So to
Right.
up and leave that, it can have you feeling not just fearful, it can have you feeling like a shamed, because it's like, oh, now I got to start
Right.
all over again and
All over and
up
yeah.
and leave everything
Hmm.
I have. And it can just leave you in a place of really truly like just questioning who
Right.
you are just
Right.
as a person. And that's just, oh my God, like
Right. Yeah,
that has like
there
thrown me
was so many
crazy.
emotions when I first got here to Florida about
Yeah.
4 years ago. Doubt, fear,
Mhm.
just thinking that I did made the wrong decision. But when I got here and actually got settled, I just felt like there was a weight off my shoulders, like I was able to breathe, so to speak. And that kind of reassured me that I did make the right decision. So I just kept pushing forward instead of trying to go back to that comfort zone that I knew so well. you know.
Yeah, and it's the familiar places, because
Right.
when people are
Hmm.
facing things that could be fearful, it's like, oh no, let me just take cover of what it is that I know. But
Right.
with you, like, what were some of the things that you found yourself having to do to, like, not say distract you, but just keep your mind focused on what was ahead, to where it wouldn't tempt you of wanting to go back?
Well, just working,
Hmm.
a regular 9 to 5, before I started doing the other journey that I'm on now. I mean, I still have my 9 to 5, unfortunately, but um, that kind of kept me focused and gave me a sense of purpose that I was,
Mm,
trying to accomplish something, and kind of set roots here, and try to build something here on my own,
mm,
and have a better life than I had before. And it wasn't a bad life, but it got to a point where, the marriage just wasn't working. And she's a
mhm,
good person, and, I wish her well, but we just weren't meant for each other,
mhm,
So that, and then once I got over the fear of public speaking, just being out in the eye of the people,
mhm,
like doing podcasts. Like when I first did my first interview, when I did my first book event,
mhm.
when my book came out,
Yeah,
oh, I was so like nervous. My first interview, like the
I'm
dude was like,
sure.
"Yo, speak up because I can't hear you on the microphone."
Yeah.
Yeah. So once I got over that fear, um, I was able to push the boundaries of what I could do,
Mm,
and I, tried to do more and more and more. So
yeah. So
yeah.
if I can ask the question, so when you were in that particular situation in your life, you may have thought you were a particular person or able to do particular things, but once you were able to really truly see your strength and doing the uncomfortable of removing yourself from that situation and being able to say, like, I really truly can face that, what would you say was so different from you then to who you have been able to see yourself become since that particular transition in your life?
Um, so I'm Puerto Rican. So we, as men, we grow up like the stereotypical male figure in the world, that you're not supposed to cry. You're supposed to be a
Yeah.
man's man. So I grew up hard. My father was hard on us, even though he had a playful side, but he, for the most part, it was all business. So I grew up that way, and a lot of people, when they see me, they kind of get intimidated because they don't, because of I guess the way that I look. I don't know. Like I'm a cool person. Like it's just weird.
Well, I don't get
But
intimidated when I see you, okay?
thank you. I appreciate that. But just being able to do things that I wasn't able to kind of helped me realize that, I'm not as hard as people thought that I was. And it just helped me become a better person. And I was more open and able to just be me, and be the person that I knew that I was
Yeah,
outside.
that's really good to that's really good to hear, because I know for me when I went through my process,
Hmm.
if you remember, I'm not sure if you're familiar, with it, but Whitney Houston and her song that she made, I Didn't Know My Own Strength, is
Right.
like seeing myself go through that process. I was really able to tap into an inner strength that I did
Hmm.
not know that
Right.
I had, and also able to see myself in a completely different light than what I
Right.
had before. Because before I felt as if I was living to please this particular person. And then once I was able to release myself from that, now
Exactly.
I was living to where, okay, Johanna, like, you really truly are a person. You
Right.
deserve more. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Your heart
Exactly.
passion is to be more. So just seeing how I was able to evolve into a completely
Hmm.
different person. And
Right.
not just that, but being able just to see how God had orchestrated and kept his hand,
Right.
over me over
Exactly.
the course of time. But you did say something in regards to, like, when it comes to men, like men, they do have that sense of, I can't show weakness, or I can't show
Right.
vulnerability, or to where I
Exactly.
have to
Right.
create, this presence to where, like, I have to be hard all the time.
All the time.
So
Hmm.
what would you say when it comes to men who are currently in those stages right now? You know what I mean? Because
Um,
speaking from a man's
right,
perspective.
right. What I had to do was I had to get out of my own way and
Mhm.
not let the depiction of what society deems that I should be
Yeah.
um, dictate what I want to be. Because, you know, the inner me is like, hey, I'm here. It's me. It's me.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? But like, um, society's like, you're not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to be a man. And, you
Mm.
know, just let them see that, you know, you don't show fear and you don't show any type of emotions and just trust yourself. Like, be yourself. Like, don't worry about what society thinks of you. Be yourself because we only have one life, you know, and if you don't live it now, you're going to have the regrets. You're going to have the woulda, coulda, shouldas.
Oh yeah.
And you're just going to be like, well, I could have did that, but I didn't. And you're just going to regret it. And that was another thing that helped me push myself to the point where I was uncomfortable
Mm.
being what let me put it this way. I was comfortable being uncomfortable. You have to be that way, especially if you're a public figure, you're a model. Like when
Mhm.
you walk in that runway, people are there to actually see you walk that runway with the clothes on. So it's like
Yeah.
you have to you're being looked at, you're being watched, you know. And going to the book events, you have to talk to people. Like my first book event, my publisher was like, you need to get up and talk. I was like, okay. And I just sat there. So but I've gotten a lot better. You know, my first podcast, I was really nervous. Like I don't know if you could see my face, it was red, but like I was just really nervous. But now it's like, you know, and then I'm a host on the podcast now. So it's like,
Yeah.
when you're on this side of the table, when you're hosting, you have to have a different energy. You have to
Mhm.
keep the public's attention. So you have to
Yeah.
switch up and you have to be, you know, funny, you have to be playful, you have to be, you know, emotional. So
Yeah.
yeah, you have to learn how to be comfortable, be uncomfortable, you know.
Oh, yeah, it's that uncomfortability, and I know when I originally started with the podcast, I'm like, "Oh, Lord, you really telling me to do this?" Like,
Right,
no, like, I've always found myself even in college, so we're doing public speaking, I never had an issue with talking in front
right.
of people. What
Mhm,
became the uncomfortable part for me is when now this would go out to people who I would not see, who I
mhm,
would not know,
right,
pretty much opening myself up to the public to be
mhm,
like criticized or to be
right,
judged or
right,
to be seen
right,
in a certain limelight that probably like to be misconstrued it somewhat.
mhm,
And that can be fearful within itself. But
right,
when I say I am so thankful and grateful that I went, and I stuck it out and I
right.
trusted God.
Exactly,
And in the
exactly,
process of it, just being able to hear the stories and the testimonies that come from having conversations like this, it
right,
lets me know, okay, God, you really truly
exactly,
knew better and you had me. So
exactly.
what was I really truly fearful of?
Exactly. Yeah, he puts you in rooms that you're supposed to be in.
Yeah.
He 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 opens that door for you to go experience what you're trying to experience,
Hmm.
but he gives you the free will to do it when you're ready to do it. You know, when you get that goal to get out and do it, then he'll definitely open a lot of doors for you because since I've been on this journey, I've gotten where I've gotten by networking with people, you know, just being in rooms with people that are doing different things and they're like, hey, well, you know, you want to do this or you want to do that, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's an amazing journey. Yes.
And I'm sure because I heard you say it, but we gonna
Yeah.
talk about it with your book and being a
Yeah.
podcast host. So talk to us a little bit about your book and what did your book stem from in your healing journey?
Well, I was always an introvert when I was a kid. So, you know, as most people that are shy and always depressed and stuff,
Mm,
they try to find a way to have an outlet in some type of way
Yeah.
to escape reality,
Mm,
because the thing that's bothering them is reality, because they don't feel like they fit in.
right.
So literacy was mine's. I would read books and take myself to those places that my imagination takes me to, different worlds, and I escaped the reality that I was in. So after a while, it got boring. I was like, I don't want to live somebody else's,
Yeah.
reality. I want to create my own. So I started making short stories, and in the process, I would um, transport myself to that reality and just be there for as long as I wanted to be. So as I got older, I kept reading books, and then I came across a book by the author named Zane. I don't know if you've ever heard
Yeah.
of him. Yes. So the book that I read changed my life, and that's where the book that I wrote came from. I was like, this is the way that she worded it, in the where my imagination took me, like the words that she gave me that helped my imagination create the world that she was trying
Mm,
to create. Like, it was amazing. So I
yeah.
was like, I need to learn how to write like this.
Oh, that's
So I
awesome.
sat back and I read more of her books, and then I read other books just to see the difference in people's style of writing,
Mm-hmm.
and kind of came up with a version of my own. So yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I was a Zane reader back in the day.
Yeah.
I have like it's still on my bookshelf. Let me just
Right.
be
Uh-huh.
transparent, humble, and open
Okay.
real
That's
quick.
good.
But I just love just the way how it, like how you mentioned, it would
Hmm.
just get you to think, and
Yes.
like I would really be able to like envision myself in her storytelling
Right.
and so on. So if you can share with us, like, what is the name of your book, and what is your ultimate goal behind your book?
The name of my book is Love Is Our Magic.
Mhm.
I have it in, it's currently published in English and in Spanish.
Okay.
I'm working on the audiobook now.
Awesome.
Um, but what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring that genre back, because it's kind of lost at the moment. Ever since Zane's kind of fell back, and I don't want to say she retired, but she's not writing like she used to.
Mhm.
Um, it's not really prevalent anymore. So I'm trying to bring it back and let people know that love still exists.
It does.
It's not a dead art. You
Mm.
just have to work on it. Love isn't perfect. Love isn't, it's what you make of it, and you have to work at it every day. So um I tried my best, and I've had good reviews so far, to
Awesome.
create, to use the words that I've been given to create a world that people could imagine and see the vision that I'm trying to give them. So
Yeah.
people have told me I what did they say? I understood the assignment. So
I
they
love it. I love it. And then
yeah.
too, for book readers, because there's so many different genres of books.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like you
Right.
can't. Some people stick in just theirs. Like I know my daughter, she loves her mystery
Hmm.
scientific kind of world.
Right.
But for myself, I love different genres of books.
Right.
Things on
Hmm.
love, self help, healing, and so on.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that you're wanting to tap more into that and just let it be known, like, hey, it's not lost, y'all. It's still
Not
there.
lost.
It's
No.
just something we have to be more intentional
Right.
about. But also, too, you mentioned with your podcast. So, can you tell us a little bit about your podcast and the
Well,
content of it?
yeah, well, it's called Hoy en Dia. It's a bilingual podcast.
Mhm.
The producer's name is Yessie Rodriguez. I don't, you might have heard of her before. She's modeled, and she's been on a couple of different movies before.
Yeah.
But I met her networking, actually. A gentleman that I networked with before, that I've never met yet. Like, we were supposed to meet at an event that I went to, and he didn't show up. So
Mhm.
I've never met this guy, but he introduced me to different people, and we, just connected.
Yeah.
And she hit me up about 4 months ago, and she was like, "Yo, I'm starting my podcast over again." And it's about, we talk about different topics, but right now we're talking about ships to sail, which is,
Mhm.
it could be a relationship, a friendship, just, any type of ship. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
A whole lot
Um,
of knows?
Right, exactly. And just how to be, good at that relationship,
Mm,
or that friendship, or just different topics right now. So we just started in March. Well, at the beginning of March. So we're probably about 4 episodes in now. So, but it's pretty fun. It's interesting. Like it like you said earlier, having people see what you're doing and be able to criticize what you're doing, and it's scary. But at the same time, like I wanted to start a podcast. I just haven't had the time. And then she came and inboxed me and was like, you want to join me? I was like, cool, and it'll give me the experience. So if I do decide later on
yeah.
to do the podcast, I'll have the experience, so
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And even with in our conversation, I've been able to hear what you say, like how you were then, like just being an introvert and
Mhm.
dealing with so many things, like even when it came to depression. But now, who you are as an author and a podcast host, and
Right,
a model as
right,
well. Like that has to stem from a place of being comfortable within, and
right.
even having to face your own fear
Mhm.
within yourself. So with hearing all of that, I love it so much, because fear really truly, if we allow it to like overtake us, it really
Mhm.
truly can be a chokehold
Yeah,
and keep us from becoming our real, true, authentic self and becoming
exactly.
the best version of ourselves. So if there is anyone out there, Mr. Manning, who may find themselves in a place to where they may be an introvert, or they may be dealing with self-doubt or any type of thing that may be keeping them or withholding them from becoming their best version of their self in facing their fear, what would you tell them right now?
First, I would tell them to it, and it's a difficult process, but you
Mm,
have to not care about what people think about you, because a
mm,
lot of people that are introverts and depressed and are scared to do things, um, they are fearful of what people think of them or criticism or stuff like that. But you have to not care about that. You
mm,
have to just love yourself and be who you want to be. Then you have to trust the process, because it's a long process. I've had times where I'm like, this is not going to go anywhere. What is going on? And I've doubted myself, even in this journey so far that I've been in. But you just have to trust the process and let the process guide you to where you need to go. Because if you don't, and you just sit back and you wonder, you know what if, or I could have did this, or I could have did that, you're never going to do it. You just have to get out there and be yourself and want to do it. But the first thing you have to do is stop caring what people think, and then it's going to be scary when you're doing it for the first time. Like, you're going to shake, and you're going to, like, everything inside you is going to scream, oh,
oh, yeah.
you know, but you have to just live in that moment, because we're not promised tomorrow. And for me, I didn't want to leave this world and not do something that I really wanted to do. So
Yeah.
that's what s- pushed me and propelled me to actually go out and do a lot of different things.
Yeah. That's good, because you said it's a process, and I
Right,
don't think most people understand. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, but it's something you have to be so intentional with when it comes to
right.
your process, and understanding that in the process you can't abort ship. You
No,
gotta keep
you got
going.
to keep going. Right,
Like you have
exactly.
to keep going, and also to understanding it's something continuous. It's not anything that comes to a halt. Like I know our devotional, it says snitches get healed, because healed
Hmm.
is going to be a process, but understanding that it's the
Right,
healing
exactly.
continuous, is ongoing. So if you can, because I know we have talked about how you have overcame fear, but is there ever times to where, and also to you can speak to where you can let the viewers and the listeners know that it is a continuous journey and something that you have taken on in your day-to-day life to help you in your continuous process in journaling of facing your fear?
Um, I well, it's like you said, it's a journey and it's a process. It's definitely difficult, especially if you have a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to stay focused
Mm-hmm.
after you get off of that, 8-10 hour shift, and getting home and be like, I'm so tired. I don't want to really do anything. But you
Yeah.
have to continue to push yourself, because do you really want the 9 to 5, or do you want to, be a model or an actor, or, a podcast host or a director
Yeah.
or a writer, you just have to keep pushing forward, and don't try to overdo it. Like, give yourself, small goals. I'm going to write for, an hour a day. Especially, after a 10-hour shift, you don't want to sit down and write. But
Yeah.
then once you start writing and you start, the story starts flowing, you get excited, and
Mm.
then you just want to keep writing. That's how I was when I was doing my book. But just keep pushing. There's no playbook for this. Like, there isn't. Like, you just have to trust the process, and not give up on yourself, because giving up on your dreams is giving up on yourself. And
Yeah.
if you start and then stop, you're just gonna like you're giving up on yourself, and you're not giving yourself the chance to be great, so just don't give up.
Yeah. And you said earlier being in that shoulda, coulda, woulda phase. Like many
Hmm.
times, like we'll be in say like 2023 and putting out all these plans and everything that we want to do, but because we don't act upon it or we don't get out of our own way or we don't face the fear of 2024 will come and then we find ourselves being stagnant or in
Right.
the exact same place because we're unwilling to face those fears. So this has been an amazing conversation,
Yes,
Mr.
definitely.
Manny. I have learned so much about you in our short time together. But if there is anyone who may be, inquiring on different questions that they may have for you, what is a great way on how they can contact you?
You could hit me up on social media, Facebook, Instagram, author Manny Morales. And you could DM me. I usually, answer back. I'm not like those people that say, "Oh, I'm gonna answer you back," and never answer back. Like, I definitely, if it wasn't for my fans and the people that
Mm.
enjoy my literacy, I wouldn't be here. So I definitely know how it is to be on that side of the fence. So to not care about, what your fans and the people that admire you
Yeah.
think or feel, then what's the purpose of you doing it? It's not just for you, because if you're in the public spotlight, and you want to do acting or modeling or writing, you're not doing it just for yourself. Because
Mm.
if you are, you wouldn't publish your book, or you wouldn't be, a runway model. You'd just be modeling in your house.
Yeah.
So, you have to take into consideration that the people that are watching you are taking something from you, and you're inspiring them. So if you just, give them the cold shoulder, they're gonna, you're going to push them further back into that hole that they're trying to get out of,
Yeah.
and you failed at what you were trying to do, trying to help motivate them to get out of that, comfort zone. So
Yeah, love it, love it, love it. So it has been great. It has
yeah.
been amazing. As we continue to unpack our 21-day devotional, we're taking our healing to a completely different level. If that's by way of relationships or, getting out of our comfort zone, facing our fears, what are those giants and Goliaths that we face on a day-to-day basis? So I am just so excited for everything it is that is to come for you and for you
Thank
just
you.
taking that bold, encouraging step, of faith,
Yes.
of facing those fears, and not just for yourself, but what you also said, for everyone else. I'm a firm
Right.
believer that
Mhm.
we do not wake up every single day with the bread that God has given us with the gifts and talents for ourselves, but they're always for someone else. So
Yeah,
I
there's
love it.
always
I love it. Yeah.
right.
So again, thank you so
You're
much for
very welcome. Thank you for having me.
conversation. Yes, on the Uncomfortable podcast. So if you have not already, go ahead, like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, or you can find us at Johanna B. Zeno on Facebook, or even on Instagram and even TikTok, because we getting our TikTok life together. So everyone just be on the lookout. And if you have Mr. Manny, please make sure to message him, inbox him, whatever the way may be, because he's not going to give you the cold shoulder. He's going to make it
Definitely not.
right. So until next time, you all go out and live a comfortable, uncomfortable life. Bye, everyone.
Bye.